it's a little bit like you're hit by something, and then you need to take your time to find out what's still standing and how do you continue. And in this moment, we did a lot of cooperation and meetings, and one of them was with all the, what's the English word? With all the regional officers of Rosa Luxemburg Foundation. So they have these international meetings where all the people from the Auslandsbüros, the foreign offices, come together. And the party headquarter people were presenting what they're working on, the cuts necessary, and then we were all debating what can we do to support each other, how can we deepen our cooperation. And in one of these meetings, Ada came up to me, and I had presented Activisti, the door knocking app that we had just finished in the first version. And she said, "You should meet, do you know Daniel from Zetkin?" And I said, "I have heard of Zetkin, but I so much didn't have time to, there's no connection." I put you in contact. And then she sent me this email and sent me his contact, and of course I didn't have time to respond, and then nothing happened. And then half a year later, Ada called me and said, "So, did you contact Daniel?" And I said, "Yeah, it's on my list. I'll do that." And then she said, "You know what? I'll just bring you two together." So she started this. Ada is there, by the way. She started off to really make us meet, Daniel and me, because we have a similar working mode. And then once we had the first meeting, where I think both of us were a little bit, I don't know, we meet a lot of people, and a lot of time things don't fit. So you have already this hesitation, like, this is another software company trying to sell me something, and on the other side, this is another one of these organizations who think that this is all easy and they don't really know what they're getting. So I'm not sure if I'm doing Daniel wrong, but I think we had a little bit of this skepticism. But in this first meeting, we were really fascinated from each other, from the projects, and because we both had this sense of, oh my God, this could actually work. This could actually be the beginning of something. And we took it from there. And as I mentioned, in 2000, I think this first meeting was in 22, I believe. So back then we thought this was the crisis, but this was only when it started. This was when it got really deep. And I remember in these meetings then we had, and it was really good meetings, and Zetkin right from the beginning said, "So we're going to bring you back into parliament, we're going to join you in this." I mean, not that they do this for us, of course, but they will be on our side and then bring us to go with us through this phase. And whenever we met, we came up with another catastrophe. This was one meeting, it was like, oh my God, we're losing membership. Next meeting was like, oh, there might be a split coming up. And it got worse and worse. And it was really the worst part in this crisis was not that the public was writing us down, was not that the right was cheering up. This was not the worst. The worst was actually that the people I work with, like the closest people, they stopped believing. There was this moment when your own people were like, maybe we need to start packing. Maybe this is the end. So some people started to find other jobs. Everybody started to make this plan B in their heads. And this was the moment when it's really hard to put everything you have in it, even though your closest friends stop believing in it. And this was the moment when it was really important to have comrades from Sweden who maybe never stopped believing because they didn't really understand how bad it was. But at least it was really helpful to have somebody on your set and say, it's going to be okay, it's going to go up. So we're going to, what is the next step? So let's just start calling, we can do something. And to have this optimism of step by step, I think that's why you need cooperation, because they also a deeper relationship, not just a cooperation, but a deep working together, because it gives you the chance to not get stuck in your processes, to have always somebody to pull you out and say, well, look at it from the outside, and then try to think of what is the next step. So this was the start, and look where we ended. Die Linke being back in the parliament, and we are having here this first European organizing conference. And a lot of things that I was describing in the little or in the Zetkin process is the stuff that we have to deal with at everyday level, because I think we can never underestimate the little relations, because it always starts with this one you need to meet, with this one exchanging email, and then even though you might be skeptical, give it a try, because this is where things are starting. Yeah, this was my little anecdote, but it took off. That's how things happen. So yesterday I was in 2 workshops that were both questioning why are people joining organizations like parties, unions, social movements, etc. So there's something very, very special about these people, which is they're trying to give their life a meaning. They're looking for a sense. So this is one of the big driving forces. Another one, the person, I think it was Aaron who pointed this out, is that this is people who long for self-determination. So they really want to be part of something. They want to do things. They want to leave the hopeless sphere. They want to actively change their lives. Then I think, Jonathan, that's what you said. People are longing, have this sense of belonging. That's what you were saying, right? I think this is another very important part. We offer something that a family can't offer. I mean, families are important, but we offer something more where you can be yourself without having to outperform somebody else. So this is very important too. But I think when these questions made me think what makes me stick in the movements or in the left sphere all my life. And I think there's something else to it. If you manage to win something, whatever it is, and you didn't just win it because somebody else planned it, but there's a deep part of you in there, in this campaign. If there's something, if your thought is in there, if your work is in there, if your love is in there, and not just yours, but this is bigger than me, this feeling, this is bigger than me, and then you win. This is the most incredible feeling that you can ever have. And this is actually this is so addictive that you keep trying to get it back. And I think this is what really makes people stick to the movements. And that's why I think, and this is the core part of organizing, and I think we keep forgetting, but I want to, everybody here knows this because that's why you're here, but I think this is the most important part. People want to put their love in the campaign. And we need to, this is our task, everybody needs to have the chance to do so. And you can see it in the campaign if this was done by a smart head and maybe a lot of budget, or if this is a campaign where a lot of people put bits and pieces together, because there's just more details, more love in these organizing campaigns. There's much more strength to it. And you can also see it if you look at this event, if you look at the whole conference, you see it in all the details, the way the food is made, the way the rooms are prepared, the way the introduction does. I mean, there's so much love in these events, and I think these emotions just travel, and this is what makes the difference between a good campaign and a good organizing campaign. I learned a lot. One thing I learned was the whole Minnesota thing, that thing, the bargaining for common goods. We should remember that name, what Valerie was presenting yesterday. And this is one of the examples. I knew Black Lives Matters was great, and I knew that this is a big thing. I never thought about, why did it start? I mean, it's not because racist violence just emerged. It's been there all the time. So why did it just start? I never thought that question. And then magically you understand, oh, of course, because there's an organizing process behind it. And this happens a lot of time, that we see all these events and we keep thinking they magically happen. They came over us and magically the left won and magically things happen. They never magically happen. And it's maybe a little bit sad because sometimes we hope that things magically happen, but they never do. So I think, Valerie, I'm very thankful for you to point me to this, but I never thought about it. You know, I should have, and we did this when Corbyn magically won. We went there as a left party and we asked them, how did you do it? What did you do? Etc., etc. But I think we should do that much more often to understand, because this is where we learn. We don't learn from the wins. We learn from what did you do and how did you manage, how did you bring it together? So that's why we came up with the idea of having a how conference, having like a conference where you just talk about how do you do things in depth, not just like click here, do this, but like really on a conceptual, methodological deepness. Another thing we should keep in mind is, I said this, how we keep, how strong it feels when you win together. And one thing that also happens with these wins, and this is whenever people say, this is the central person who was responsible for the win, I'm always getting this, because we need to collectivize our winning. Even though it's true that it takes a lot of people who are part of this, I know we always want to know who is the central organizer, who did this brilliant social media campaign, who is this perfect leader who can always do it. And it's true, they also have a big part in it. But I think we need to be very careful of we always look for heroes. We always want to get to know them, but it's actually much more people than we always think. And I think we need to learn to be much more collectivizing our winnings, but also to keep it. Before I worked in the party, I was worked as a service contractor, is that how you say, for unions, to join organizing campaigns. And one of the key things I learned there is how good the employer is in stealing the wins. So whenever you have like a strike and it was really successful, the first thing after such a bargaining agreement is agreed upon is the employer coming up and saying, you know what, people, this is not because of the strike, this is because I am a nice person. That's the first thing they do. They always do it. And it's really powerful because actually people start believing it. This is really this is a powerful poison to steal the wins. And if you look at the press, if you look at how we talk about winning and how this is really a poison, and we need to really tackle it. And I know the union is completely aware of it, but nevertheless, the doubt is creeping in there. So making sure we celebrate, that's why the parties are so important, make sure we celebrate and we collectivize our winnings. But also the opposite happens with the losing. Whenever people lose, they feel as if this is almost natural to lose. You know, it's like, yeah, capitalism, we always lose. You know, it's like, you can't do anything about it. Like, oh, the life has been going down, it's getting worse. And I think this is just because people are aging, so it feels like that. But but really things are not going down. And a lot of times when movements or strikes or events are defeated, something emerges from that, because the experience lives in the people and it lives on, and they will take it and carry it to some next project, and it will just live on. So I think we should stop thinking of winning and losing in such strict categories, but we should make sure that we keep what we have and collectivize it. So I'm going to pass to Daniel very soon for the next things happening. But a few more things on this meeting. Organizing Movement Meetup is the title, and the subtitle is the First European Conference. So you can already see in the title that we were not so sure how to frame this, because we wanted it to be deep and specific, like for instance a conference, but we didn't want it to be scientific like a conference. We wanted it to be a starting point where people can meet, where people can start working together, when people actually, we wanted you to leave this place with so much energy and power and faith in what we are doing, that this can last for the next 2 years, because this is when we want to meet again. So all this is about unlikely encounters. That means the power of meeting people that you are not naturally meeting anyhow. There's a lot of power in it. You need to draw these connections. There were a lot of talks where people were doing exactly that, including religious communities, trying to find the person that is also, that's the mapping work, finding these people that are where you can draw a connection, finding these communities and then work with it, deepen it. One thing I learned in my life is that no relationship is natural. We all build it. And this is why we're here. We are here to get to know each other, build a relationship and work with it, deepen it and go the next step. And that's why I hope, yes, you use the last day here to exchange your email addresses, exchange some love and take it back home and continue with it. Thank you. So I'm passing to Daniel.
All right, I didn't notice that it was me. I looked for a loudspeaker. So, but it's so wonderful to see every one of you. I was thinking like it's going to be 3 people here in the morning, but it's actually many, many people. And I want to extend all the love from us to Susanne, because she really connected the dots and gave us the key insights from yesterday. So give her a big applause again. Whew. Did you have a good evening yesterday evening? Did you make any new friends? Good. So the new friends and the new relations and what Susanne said, make sure to keep them at least today, but then forever on. And the way to do that is to contact them next week and say, hey, I really like to do things with you, okay? But now we're going to find spaces where we're going to go. And probably you already know where you want to go, but we're going to help each other to come there. And if you don't know, you're going to get some help now by understanding what's happening. So either the map or the reader,